So I decided to make a quick video about alignment of a delta pad bottom boat into a V bottom jig like this. The question is, if I set this delta pad bottom into this V, will it line up nicely? For example, will this side line up with this side while this side lines up with that side, or will something else strange happen? And it turns out it will line up smooth, flush on both sides, but not exactly in the way that you would expect. So let's zoom out and look at this from a little bit different perspective. So here's the delta pad viewed from a different perspective. These green planes are the bent sides of the delta pad, but they're extended, as you can see here. So here's one bend and the plane that it makes, and another bend and the plane that it makes. And these planes are symmetric, just like a V bottom is, but that line that they're symmetric about is not what you would first think. So this blue line shows their line of symmetry. And as you can see, the blue line actually goes below the delta pad at the back, and then at the front you can see, well, here it meets the tip of the delta pad, and then it keeps going up in front of that. So what's implied is that when you set this delta pad into a V bottom jig, the delta pad bottom boat will tip downward in the front. So the delta pad will no longer be horizontal. It will tip down until this line of symmetry here is the same as the line of symmetry in the jig. So here we're looking at the blue line again from the side, and I've gotten rid of everything else, and it turns out it's sloped downward at about 1/4 of an inch per foot. So if you have a 12-foot delta pad, then you have to slope the front down by 2.8 inches relative to the back, and then the delta pad bottom will fit nicely into a V bottom jig. So this explains why it's handy to have jacks on your jig so that you can raise and lower the front and the back of the boat depending on what you want your horizontal reference point to be. If at the beginning of the build you want your delta pad to be horizontal, then you have to lower the front of say a 20-foot boat by about 5.5 inches. And then if you want the gunnel to be your horizontal reference point later in the build, then you have to adjust and do something else. Here's another handy tool, is this digital protractor. So you can see it's saying 11.2 degrees. So that's the tilt on this thing right now. And that's really handy when squaring everything up and making sure everything is level and true and square and straight and all that kind of stuff when you're putting this thing together. Another thing about this inclination gauge that's very handy is it's magnetic. So you can hang it from underneath things.